Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of HPTV, where we help people thrive no matter what they're going through. And today, I have a very, very special guest in the studio, a guy that has been a very huge instrument in my life, great friend, mentor, coach on many levels. We've just kind of vibed in life and have built a strong relationship. So, Stephen Christie, my man, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah. So I don't know if any of you out there and that's watching this have people in your life that you lean on or just vibe with. But this man has always, ever since I've known you, Stephen, you've always had a smile on your face. You always seem like you're living in a good space of gratitude and just you've looked like we talked about perspective earlier off camera when we were talking about it. And, perspective always looks good on people from everybody always puts their front on, but I've talked to you for a long time. It's a mindset thing. You've got things figured out. So it's been a great ride and a great journey getting to know you.
You know, like I always say, we always talk about, life is a work in process. So, we're always trying to figure out those games and understanding the structure and strategies. We're always trying to survive through the process.
Yeah.
And you and I always have great talks. I mean, we go way back where, we have daughters and dance, and we talked about certain things and certain elements of life. And it's funny because you just don't know your surroundings or how special the surroundings are around you, because everybody's living through this life structure and style, and they're trying to get through their own game plan, right?
Right.
But it's funny when you sit back and you kind of chill with somebody. And we had to build props, which I don't know if anybody's ever been involved in dance and never been prop dads.
Right.
You're having a couple beers, you're talking, and you're trying to figure out how you're going to build something.
Yeah.
And then you're hoping it works.
You're hoping it works and doesn't hurt anybody in the process.
But, it's funny, I had a lot of opportunity, to kind of be around and listen. And I do a lot of this. You talk about smile. Smile is in all different fashions of looking at somebody and understanding, like, I'm going to learn something in this process for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to be like selfish of me, but so many people I've come across in my path of life have taught me so many relevant things that everybody calls me the enhancer. I always take it and they go, wow, this is like such an amazing information that I can enjoy and consume. And at the same time going, just you get through life and you can't be around everybody because it doesn't fit everything. Right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But we try to find special people in your life that you can be around and relish and express and be you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I found that being with you was like that thing. It was funny because, I got made a lot of friendships, with my daughter's dance, and everybody's got their own vibe going on and everybody's got their own gig going on. We all work hard. We all try to pay for our dance. And, and we try to just figure out, what's the next step. And when you have special moments, and I don't really get to, when work is working and life is going and I'm traveling or doing something, I don't get those special mind resting moments that I get to consume something. And that's what I got in you as a friend. I had someone who I can go, hey man, what's going on? And we talk about something. And it's funny because I don't know how you know your power, what you do and how you create yourself, but you're always that kind person going, hey, Stephen, I'm gonna fix this thing. And I'm like, God, this guy, he's like building these things, and he's like so kind to people to go, hey, I'll be there for him. And I kept on going, God, I said to my wife, I'm like, Gary, God, this guy is like, he's always available for certain things. And I think, to me, I found that kindness, and then I got a chance to, finally, because you don't really know how to create that space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we finally created that space of talk, then I've gotten like, wow, okay, I get this person in a different light, not good or bad, but in a different light. I mean, like, I don't go to people and go, oh, this person's this or this. I go, well, how do they fit in the space that I really get passion in? And so, when I saw that process working with you, it was like, wow, pretty cool. This is a guy that I can chill and have a beer and talk about stuff. And when you're talking about how you're doing things for kids, and I was just like digging it, because my life's about how do I improve others around me. And that's what you were doing. And you didn't, I don't even think you even knew the content you were doing.
No,
because I asked you a bunch of questions. I'm like, wow, he doesn't really understand the great things he's doing. he's pinpointed himself to.
Well, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot coming from a man like you. I mean, people that are watching this episode, if you don't know Stephen Christie, this man is, when you say busy schedule, you're a businessman. You own multiple businesses. You're an investor. You're a coach, real estate mogul. This guy has been doing it all for many years, and so for you to carve out time, to spend with me, and I know that we've had those moments that we were fortunate enough to have in the dance world and all that, and the weekends that we got to spend together, and it was magical, man. I feel really blessed to be able to call you a friend and a brother. I mean, we're like family, man. I really, we've shared some intimate conversations. We've been through a lot together, and this provides a unique opportunity for the audience that's watching this show, because we're going to do things a little bit different on this one. Usually I've been interviewing my guests, and we're going to kind of have a different type of session here, because what people need to understand is you've helped me in a lot of ways. Like you say, I've helped you, and we've got a mutual relationship where we lean on each other and provide valuable assets, whether we know it or not, or trying to or not. We've built that foundation. But you've helped me along in this process. You talk about a guy that we started our friendship building props, sharing a few beers together, definitely sharing a lot of laughs, a lot of that stuff, and sharing the same love that we have for our families, for sure, and what we would do anything in for our kids. But anyway, this is a unique opportunity because I want you to kind of share some of your experiences like this and the evolution of, because a lot of people that are seeing my show and this stuff, they know me as the cancer fighter, and they know me like that, and they see my fight and they see my determination and they draw energy from that. And now, this is what it is and it's manifesting. But you have seen a guy that was the nice guy, but maybe, not as focused in things. And we've talked about focus in life. We talk about mindset. I know that you love stretching people's minds. So I'd like to go through that process with you a little bit and show what this type of a relationship can provide for people. Because I'm always telling people, you are what you consume. You are what you eat, what you drink, and what you put into your mind. And that, as a result of that, you better watch who you're hanging out with.
Right.
I tell my nephew and my daughter and all that stuff, you are who you hang out with. You are what you consume. Yeah. You're a product of what you see today with me, and I appreciate you, brother. So let's have a good time with this and see where it goes.
Sounds fun. So, it's funny, you and I talk about this all the time, and we get into this discussion about receiving, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about how people receive you, how they engage with you.
Uh-huh.
So, we live in a world of social media and strategies and how people see it and how people feel it.
Uh-huh. Right.
But how you feel it when you're looking at a social media conflict or strategy. Right. And then I take a chance to look at it and go, okay, perception's a big thing, right? We all go, oh, wow, this person by perception equals this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, and our discussion is I always got to look at it and go, what is real
mm-hmm.
and what is not real?
Okay.
I think that what I found in the process is, and you and I had the same discussion, what I know about you, is we had to look at your life at times when we had our discussions, and, we look at the good or bad process that you need to go through in order to get to be the human and purpose you are,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're always going to find our purpose. But I think we delegate our purpose when the beginning of our lives and we find out that God has a certain theory for us, a certain process, a actual journey that we're going to go on,
mm-hmm.
right? And I think we're tested in that journey, and you've been tested, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I love about you is the idea that you turn around and you have said to this process that you wanted to do something different when I knew you, and this is pre-cancer you.
Right.
So the pre-cancer you changed something to do the cancer you,
mm-hmm.
right? And sometimes, and I even said this to my wife, sometimes it's like, God, Gary, I'm so sad that he has had to go through this process. But then I look at it and I talk to you and I go, I'm so happy who you are as a person in this process, because it's not the lives that you're going to save through the cancer process. It's about the people who don't even have cancer, who you are giving them a different mindset and theory and process. Now, here we go back to that, right? You have a big picture.
Uh-huh.
How are you going to get people to receive you?
Yeah, that's the big $1 million question, and I think that the answer is within your transparency and your consistency within that. So I aim to educate, I aim to entertain, and provide good content that will be valuable to people's lives. And so how do I get people to receive that and want more of it? Because there's a lot of chatter out there. We've talked about this, and I think what you're saying within the message that you just said right there is that, being able to build a brand on social media or anything in the world, it has to be authentic. And there's a lot of people out there that could put fake messages out there. They could put a good fake look on. They could put a good pretty face on a picture or an infographic, but then the product or the service or the mentorship, whatever comes behind that, is empty, because it's just anybody could create a video. Anybody could grab a camera or anything like this and create a content that somebody can take as truth.
Right.
And I think that that's the biggest problem in our world right now, and especially for our youth that are growing up, that take such, I guess they give so much ownership and value to what's put out on the internet as the truth. But just because it's out there doesn't mean that it's real. And so I think that to answer your question, again, it's consistency, it's execution, and it's putting out good, authentic content, right?
So our discussion is always going to be the same, right?
Right.
Not everybody's going to receive.
Right.
And it's okay, because it's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say that to everything that I do. I always look at things I want bigger for other people. Doesn't mean they're going to receive it. Even sometimes people pay me on coaching, they don't receive it until 6 months later, and we talked about that. And then they finally go, oh, a light bulb goes up, and they go, oh.
Right.
For me, and my hope for you and our process we talk about is that you never stop your message and stay in your lane, because I know you are authentic in your process, and what I don't think other people know about you and don't get a chance to engage with you is there's always going to be the back talk. And that's the chatter. And, in order to be a master of what you want to achieve and also be the authentic you have to let go of the back talk, the chatter. You got to kind of go, this is my dream, this is what my purpose is, and this is my passion, and my endeavor is going to be where my journey takes me. And I think that's what I like and know. So what I think is, what is the real process for you? You've gone through such incredible stages of your life, right?
Right.
So in order for them to know, what is your lane?
I think that my lane needs to stay consistent with, I want to help people thrive through life no matter what they're going through. Circumstances happen, and we get derailed. You talk about being able to keep that audience, or being able, if there is somebody that is, you coach people, I'm also coaching people and putting that out there. So I want people to follow me and stay with me and understand that we're on a mission together to get results in their life. And what happens is within growth, it makes people around us uncomfortable. And so if you and I have the reason why we work so well is because we both want to grow in life, and we both want to live our purpose and cast out, good stuff so people can grow too. We love growing with people. And I believe that, pain shared is pain divided, but also success shared is success amplified. But when you got a bunch of people living in the world that we live in, that's always a bunch of chatter, a bunch of audience, a bunch of things going on, you got to be able to shut all that down and stop the chatter and stop the noise, because it derails you and makes you think that you're crazy, or makes you think that you're not providing a good service, makes you start questioning what you're doing. And that's the biggest tug and pull that I have, and why I have to stay so connected with people like yourself, and why I try to advise people to, if you don't understand coaching, or if you don't have mentors, get some. If you don't, buy a book, like start reading something about people that have done what you're trying to do. But so I think we're like that lane, staying in that lane, staying true to who you are in growth. Like our audience that's looking at this, we want them to grow. And within that, people are going to try and get you away from that. Say, why are you doing that? You're fine where you're at. And I think where I was before cancer is I was that guy. I was that guy living that medium life, that comfortable lane of, I'm going to be helpful, I'm going to be good, I'm going to stay over here, I'm not going to be bothered by anybody, I'm just going to be cool, I'm going to make my living and be good. And that was cool for a while. But now that I've been shooken up, things change.
Right.
Purpose starts driving you. You start thinking differently. Like I wake up in gratitude every single day, no matter how my bank account looks, because I get to breathe and I get to see my daughter again, and perspectives change.
So what's exciting for me with you is knowing your growth pattern and where you want to go with that, right?
Yeah.
And you said it earlier, you're a sum of the people you surround yourself with.
Yes.
And I've been really in my process, and I know my friends know who they are, and then people who I've actually worked with, they know who they are. And even my family would go, yeah, yes, there was a change in his development because of that sum. What I always understood was it was always to be uncomfortable to be comfortable.
Yes.
And there was a lot of uncomfortable times. There was times when I did wrong deals that just didn't work. So there was times I didn't really even want the flow of the work because I was just tired.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, what is making me tired, not pushing me to the next thing?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the natural habit, right? We want to engage in a process that seems to be simple, but it gets to be difficult. And that's where a lot of people can't get past that next step, right?
Right.
You took on something to me as this is going to be difficult, and I don't want to change but build better habits to know that if I kind of keep myself focused on the building of this habit, your routine changed.
Mm-hmm.
So what were the major factors of your routine that changed for you, that developed you? I mean, look where you are today.
Yeah.
So what can you just, it's funny because I'm interviewing back to you.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's why I said this is going to be a little bit different.
So what I'm saying is, in that process that you were working through, you actually had to change routine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, change patterns.
Right.
You had to change focus of what your directions was going to be.
Right.
Because you really said, okay, in order to create this space to beat this disease that you were facing in, you changed the pattern.
Had to.
So talk to me a little bit about some of the things, because this is going to help not just the person fighting cancer.
Right. And that's the whole mission.
Help
yeah.
You change the routine, which changed who you were. You change your priority list on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So talk a little about that.
So that process, it starts with living in the reality of it. Oftentimes that I find that leading up to this point, because when your life is changed, your life is on the line, like you got stage 4 diagnosis of cancer, you better change. Like things change. You have to change your mindset, or else you're going the wrong direction. But we don't have to change throughout our life. Like nobody's really threatening us. You can make decisions. So when you actually, okay, my life is on the line, my health is out of whack, I have to realize, okay, what have I been doing to get me to this point? And it wasn't a genetic thing. So it was a product of my circumstances or environment of what I was putting into my body. I was 285 pounds at the time. I was eating every fast food joint across town. I was drinking almost every single day. I was in that point. I was smoking cigarettes, very unhealthy lifestyle, not working out, just very bad decisions. And I found that this was a result of just life's circumstances driving me and me not driving my life. And I was letting everything else, I was letting the chatter, the audience, the crowd that I used to be able to tune out on the basketball court and be able to focus in. We talk about that Field of Dreams scene, being able to focus in and clear the mechanisms and stuff like that. I lost the ability to do that. The mechanisms were controlling me. My thought processes were controlling me. The chatter was controlling my lifestyle. And so when my life got shaken, it changed my thought process.
Right.
So not only was I fighting the disease of cancer, I learned that I had so many figurative forms of this disease all over me that I allowed within me. So I had to start changing my lifestyle. And what do you got to do? If you're going to eliminate things, you better start filling it with other stuff, right? You have to recognize where you're at, be comfortable with it, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Because you mentioned that, like there's in growth and whatever that looks like you have to get comfortable with those situations. And I got through this process over the last couple of years, Stephen, I've had to get real comfortable with being very, very uncomfortable, whether it's pain, going through that type of stuff, whether it's, emotional stress, the mental struggle of this. So what I have found is to become the man that I am today through the processes that I've gone through in life, whether it go back to the early 2000s, late 90s of my college career, or if you look at the previous 15 years to 20 years of my professional career as a businessman and aspiring entrepreneur. And then if you look at, right before my diagnosis, letting go of the career finally to say, okay, I'm going to go for it and go for this entrepreneurial thing. And then the diagnosis, and now building something through that. This is an evolution of mindset and a truer understanding of the fact that we are what we put into our bodies, what we put into our minds, and that's about it. The circumstances of life, we can't control it.
Right.
You have no control over what's going to happen any outside of what you decide to tell me right now, or we don't know what's going to happen outside these walls.
No.
And the sooner that people could realize that, I think the better off they'll be. I don't know.
I think it's awareness.
Yes.
So the key thing you just said that I'm enjoying is you develop this different awareness. And I think if everybody who's watching and listening or are going through this, the first thing is awareness.
Yeah.
Right? It's funny. You lose control of things, right? So let's talk about controls that I lost. Right? Just this weekend, having my daughter drive of her permit on a freeway, and I'm in the passenger seat, guess what? I lost control of the aspect of controlling this car, this vehicle. Now, what has to happen there?
Mm-hmm.
Faith and trust.
Yeah.
That what she was taught or was learning will be developed in her actions and her skills.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is called putting your life on the line.
Yeah.
She's probably listening like, Dad, come on. Seriously.
Yeah, right. Calm
and
down.
I love her, man, but, I remember being 16. I was dumb as dumb, and, I do things that just like, if my parents ever saw the way I drove, they probably should never even give me a license. But here's the process. So the thing is awareness.
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing. And I always look at all the people who I have ever coached and I say, and people hate this. They hate this, right? You go, okay, let's start with the basics. Let's start. And everybody who's ever listened to this school, he's going to say it. I would just go, let's start with your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Is your schedule empowering you? Or is your schedule just so unorganized that you really don't know how to even go in a day?
Mm-hmm.
So I call it the wing it. Let's wing it today and see if we can get through, or I'm actually in control of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's the awareness.
Yes.
And it's our decision. So, I love it, during the holidays, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, if the best time to buy like a 24-hour fitness company or something is buy it in like October and sell it in February, right?
Yeah.
Because October, everybody starts the drinking and eating and stuff like that, right? And then you know what they're saying on that January 1st? I am going to work out every day. And then you see on everybody's ads, come in here for $99, blah, 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 blah. And they know they are going to actually take in more members than this actual building can handle.
Yeah.
And here's their apology for the first 2 weeks of January. Hey, Gary, I know it's a little busy in here. Just chill out. In 2 weeks, they'll all be gone.
Yeah.
So these people buy these annual things. They have an intention that they want to look better because they just overate.
Yeah.
And they get into those first 2 weeks. And you notice what happened? 2 weeks is not a habit building function.
No, it's not.
Right?
Right.
So everybody who's ever thought 2 weeks is going to do it for you, 24-hour fitness, thanks you for growing their company.
Exactly.
Right? But the funny part is after 2 weeks, you're like, oh, where'd everybody go?
Uh-huh.
Because they went back to their old game. It was easier.
Yep.
So that first start out of the day, like, hey, I'm working out first, I'm eating right, that just goes away.
Yeah.
A true habit to me is built in 3 months.
There you go.
If you can get through 3 months of sticking to something at a higher percentage rate,
Mm-hmm.
like a schedule, and saying how am I going to start my day, how am I going to finish my day, I had to really look at that habit.
Yeah.
And when I formed that habit, I crushed it.
Yeah.
I just started my day with the way I wanted to have my gratitudes taken. I wanted to look at what my intentions were for the day.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to understand what my power was going to be for the process of my day.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went into my workout.
Mm-hmm.
And my workout was just like, how do I get through 45 minutes to an hour of something that made me actually sweat and made me feel good? Because I wanted to say, when I was going through it, am I going to get it done?
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, just the shower and having breakfast with your family or something like that. That is a really weird startup, but a strong startup, because I felt better going into the office. Now, in that process, I knew, Gary, I wasn't going to watch the news. I wasn't going to do this. I was just going to actually get in my head.
Mm-hmm.
my space.
Right.
So I always talk, my gratitude was my 15 minutes of my gift.
Mm-hmm.
No one was up. Everybody thinks I'm crazy at 5 o'clock in the morning to be up in the morning. Everybody's like, he's nuts. But it was actually my happiness.
Yeah.
And it's funny. So I get through my day and do my day. And the nighttime was really, really interesting because I went and got home, wanted to have dinner, and wanted to hang with my family. But I had to have that half hour to close out my day.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was meditation or a process of what my game was for tomorrow. So I didn't have to rethink it and I can actually sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that work all the time. No way.
Right.
But the goal was to get a higher percentage of it to work.
Right.
Because,
Because as much as you were trying to control in that process of getting your day started, there's still things that, that can happen that can derail you. And of course, I mean, life happens, but it's working the numbers. Where your majority of your time, you're hitting singles and home runs daily
right.
because of the way you're setting up your schedule. Right.
And I wasn't attached to the outcome.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't attached to it because I was going to start the next day at 0.
Right. I like that because I often tell people I just try and be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. I don't worry about the outcome too much. Like if the outcomes are there, we got goals.
Yes.
But if you're not part of the process and being engaged in the process, you're not going to hit your goals. They're just going to keep outdistancing yourself, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And you're always going to have the challenges because, again, remember, in the passenger seat, you have trust and faith.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
When you're in the driver's seat, everybody around you has to have trust and faith.
Yeah, that's deep.
Isn't that funny?
That's deep.
So think about that. Here you are creating this space, and I love it because you remember, there are always going to be talks or people who aren't going to believe what they want to believe because they don't have their own trust and faith.
Mm-hmm.
But you're in this challenge world because you're putting in a channel of information.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, all right, guys, I want to take everything I know and I want to bring it to a space where people can create this different way of looking at things. Like, for example, I always say, if you can't laugh, then you're really losing such a big emotion of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't cry, you're losing 100 big emotion of yourself. If you can laugh and cry and sing and dance and all the things that you do, you're getting all the experiences of yourself.
Right. Yeah.
But then everybody goes, I can only do this.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll chatter about the other people because they can't get those other expressions out. Right.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like about you is you're able to do it all.
I appreciate that. I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's very difficult.
But as God says, he didn't make it to be easy.
Right.
I mean, he didn't have it easy.
It's awareness, though. Like I take it back to the awareness. Like it's a conscious awareness of an everyday process that you have to stay true to. And yes, you're going to take your lumps.
Right.
But the consistency pays off. You're an investor and financial guy, so I always use the terminology of compound interest in this effect. Mm-hmm. If you consistently grind every single day and just try and get little results every single day, those little results we may not see, like being able to watch our children grow. They may not look that big to us, but all of a sudden your family member that just came in town that you haven't seen in a year, your kids are monsters because they see that growth. But those little daily growths we don't see. But it's the exponential growth. It's the compound interest of those little growths over a period of time that help you win. And that translates to everything in life. This is not just a cancer battle. This is not just being an entrepreneur. This is not being a father or a mother or whatever. This translates across the board.
Right. So then this pattern shift.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So this pattern shift in a way that if you were to sit there and look at all the things you had to go through.
Right.
What was one thing that makes you laugh? Like you go, I was going through this and I was feeling this and all of a sudden I found myself, I'm getting too serious. I had to laugh a little bit about this process. And you go back to it now and go, you still laugh about it.
Mm-hmm. It's not just one thing, Stephen. It's a lot of things and it's the same common denominator. The common denominator is me getting in my own way. My thought process of derailing me and then me all of a sudden realizing 30 days later that I veered off this track to create this type of program to position myself this way, but this is exactly where I end up again on the same track that I was originally. So it's, again, what makes me laugh is and what was so profound today, I'm gonna go back to the analogy again of that Field of Dreams episode or whatever, with them on the mound and everybody's telling you suck, you're the worst, F you, blah 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 blah. Well, that's my mind.
Right.
So I laugh because I am my own worst enemy. I'm my own worst critic. I'm my own worst nemesis.
Right.
And the thing is that, and it makes me laugh because I used to thrive off that stuff on the court, man. I used to love hearing those chatterboxes in the crowd. Sometimes I get a little trouble from the refs because I was taunting the crowd because I heard it and I was like,
more.
yeah, but I was able to focus in so much that I was so confident that I would put it down and then I would tell them about it and then go back down and stop somebody and go do it again. But the thing is in life, and I was confident in that moment because I was so good at what I did. And I was getting, paid my scholarships to go to college to be able to do what I did. In life, when you're figuring things out and you're not really sure, it's so easy to get off track. It's so easy to be like, yeah, I probably do suck. Like, that's probably not a good direction, or maybe I'm not positioning myself right.
Right.
So my question is, I laugh at that common denominator of me being my own worst enemy.
So it's a funny thing, you're taking it, right? Do you get what and it's pretty profound.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're taking awareness to your environment.
Yeah.
So our environment and our kids get brought in, like, we have kids in dance. Right? I have a son who's always trying to grow his life, and another son that's also trying to figure out his life, and my other daughter who's going through her life, and they all have different personalities, right?
Right.
They have survival.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at the environment, right? So as a growth pattern, and I like this what next process for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's my process that I'm really working hard on to engage into a new system that I'm working on that I'll share some other day, but it's pretty amazing because I go, what's next, right?
Yeah.
And I get a chance to understand someone who goes as a kid and he's in high school. The first day the kid goes to school, the awareness in the environment's going to say whether you're good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
It's nobody's choice.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a bully in school. It could be a teacher who just doesn't have a clue, just doesn't like their job, and they just don't want you to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other teachers and other people in your life that go, you are amazing. You are creating this path. Just keep going. So you have to choose which ear you're hearing.
Mm-hmm.
What side of your shoulder is talking to you, right? And the awareness of the environment always tells us first that we can't do it before the awareness of the environment tells us that we can do it. Because the doubt is always going to be built, and doubt is built through life. Because people are going to doubt you, right?
Yeah.
And you got to, to me, that's encouraging. I'm a competitive guy. So when I was growing my businesses, people were like, he's not going to survive. He's crazy. He's doing this. And I was like, bring it on. This is the way I like, And my son used to always laugh, my older son, Kyle, he'd go, don't egg him on. We'd play with his friends basketball. And he goes,
yeah.
My dad may not be the best basketball player, but if you egg him on, he's also going to become Jordan.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny
how
we always had that game because we go,
yeah.
That inspires me because I've had too many people tell me I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I look at them and go, let me prove you wrong. Now, sometimes, you go through your factors and go, I didn't calculate this. And that's cool.
Yeah.
That's called learning by process.
Right.
But in your life and what you're doing is I like the what next process. So a child's going into school, going into high school, learns your process that you learned in the last few years.
Yeah.
So if we took your life 5 years back and said, here's your life 5 years back, and here's what you're doing, here's all your equities, and here's how you saw it. And you went in through this process, and I say, yes, the unfortunate, fortunate.
Right.
You went through, okay?
Right. Yeah.
And people will go, what is he saying? Well, the unfortunate, yes. My best good friend of people I deal with, one of the guys I really appreciate, got cancer. And I just looked at you and was like, it's sad, my friend, but now what?
You did. And, I mean, we had our moment, and we're sad about it, but what are we going to do?
What's next?
Right.
Because, you're not going anywhere. What's next?
Right.
And we had that discussion. I'm like, dude, you're not talking this way.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah.
And we had those funny discussions like,
yeah.
All right. Let's talk this out, right?
Yeah.
But, that's you're going to give to people. And that's what I am really excited for you because they need to know how to get to that next phase. You come out of school today, whether you're an athlete or whatever you are, and you want to be something, but you can't socially connect.
Right.
That you could be so great, but you just don't have the skill to connect.
Right.
No one's teaching that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go into this world of work and they want to grow, but they're stuck because some management level is not their gig.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say, if it's not your gig, get out of your gig, right?
Right.
You know, one day you can be a great quarterback, but who says you're not a great baseball pitcher?
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Like John Elway was amazing in baseball. He became an amazing quarterback,
Uh-huh.
right? I mean, you got to look at who you don't know who you are, but you are.
Yeah.
So if you can take your last 5 years into your next 5 years and develop this, what is this going to do for you?
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to just help people in my life of seeing cancer victims, which I'm really so astounded about what you can do for people.
Yeah.
But you're going to also help people who aren't in that position to go, wow, I heard something here today.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll just rewind it again and again and again, because that was profound enough for me to go, I don't care what the environment says. I control my environment.
Yeah.
Back to, you're the sum of the people you surround yourself with.
100%.
Isn't that funny?
It is. It is. Yeah. I mean, you could take a story like this and you could take, that journey, but what it is, we have a lot more control of our outcomes, because when we can show up to life better, like you talked about helping people.
Yeah.
I can't help a soul if I can't help myself.
Right.
What is the first thing that they do when you get on an airplane?
Yeah.
They show you all the safety stuff. What is the thing that they do when they drop the air?
Yeah.
Put it on yourself first, because if you're not breathing, you can't help anybody else breathe.
Right.
So I've been telling everybody that I talk to, I tell my family that if we're going to be here for each other, you first have to be here for yourself. And you have to be able to look at life as we all don't know anything. I mean, we're all just trying to figure it out. You've gone through a certain path in your life and have a lot of great experiences. You've paid for a lot of mentorship. You've done a lot of things in business. You've done a lot of things in your athletic career, in college. You've got a lot of experiences that you fall back on that give you this library of resources to give to people.
Always.
Right? And
Always.
And that's your purpose, and that's your driving force. And what I have found through this process is that my purpose in life is to help people thrive.
Right.
No matter what they're going through.
Right.
And cancer happens to be my circumstance, my big one. The big one that has derailed my life, but it also put me back on a rail that is so firm and so strong, and I know exactly where that train is rolling. And I know exactly where that destination is ultimately going to be one of these days. But it's the process that I'm enjoying. It's the daily process of becoming a better version of myself.
Yep.
It's the daily trek to find more conversations like this with people like you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because what it does is it makes me grow. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to depend on what social media could tell me or what any other media outlet can tell me. I'm looking at for people with true transparency, somebody that has an authentic smile on their face, that because of what they're doing in life and the way that they're representing. And if you're representing yourself right, and whatever your faith is, wherever your foundation is, if you're representing that right, then the transparency of happiness and all that stuff, it can change the world.
Right.
That's what's so fun about where I'm at and what I'm trying to do, is because I see the pattern and the formula to the success that I've had in this cancer fight, but not only in that, in what I've done to eliminate all the other cancerous crap that I did to myself over the years.
Right.
Right. And I want people to understand that they can make a clear decision today.
Do you see yourself lately?
You know, Stephen, it's weird because I get a lot of people reaching out, and people tell me that I'm changing their life with what I say and the things that I do and my experience and the way that I'm walking my life and the way that I'm doing things. And it's tough to sometimes step out because I'm just who I am.
Right.
I've always been a loving person with a big heart.
Yeah.
It's just now I'm doing life differently. I've shown up differently because I've taken control of the way that I feel, even going through the massive amounts of poison and crap that they're putting into me. Yeah. And I'm still able to do this, and it just makes me feel amazing. And so, no, sometimes I don't even see myself.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
It's funny. It's like, when they go into these commercials about, here's how I looked here, and here's how I look today. Right? I think you need to kind of take a step back and see who you are today. Because to me, I know you're putting a lot of poisons and a lot of things you had to go through, but you look better.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? That
it is.
you went through all that, and are out of that process. It may not be perfect,
Yeah.
but you look better, you feel better, you sound better,
Yeah.
you know, and your voice is projecting in a different light. Like,
Thank you.
you know, it's pretty cool. People are going to be understanding more and more about you if you just keep your pattern correct.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, don't let people take away your sound.
Yeah.
You know, turn the volume up when they start doing it, and just believe enough in yourself, because you got so much information to give. You know, and our discussion earlier was like, put it in its lane, and just, man, drive to the opportunities that you are, and you have such a great connection that you know, not everybody's going to believe it until they really believe it. You know, we've, you know, gone through our faith, and we always saw what had to be believed through the faith that we were growing with, and the people who brought us the faith are the ones that had to take, you know, the disbeliefs. And I think for us is understanding that, yeah, there is going to be disbelief. You know, there is going to be but to me, I get to enjoy, have some laughs, still, you know, look at things in a different light, still have my failures, because my failures are always going to come. I mean, even when I talk to my kids, I sometimes look at them like, you know, maybe I didn't project that correctly. Maybe I didn't you didn't get me because I was being a dad, and dad sounds so different than actual man who's talking. But dad is that same language that keeps coming across. And all of a sudden, I can turn around and say, hey, Gary, will you say this to my kid? Because he'll probably get it from you better than me, because my sound is so different.
Right.
So, you know, the pattern that I hope and pray for you is that you stay in direct pattern of what your beliefs are, and that you got such an amazing story that's coming.
Right. It's just getting started, baby.
The story's already there. You know,
Yeah.
it's already gotten to where it's at.
Yeah.
But the coming story is what's, you know,
it's really exciting.
It's the best sequel.
I think so, man. I really envision that, and I see that, and I want people to understand that, you know, staying in your lane is very important, and there's a lot of outside influences that can change that real quickly. But where you can eliminate a lot of that is right in your own lane and staying very true to who you are. And that's the message that I really want people to hear in all of this, is that your consistency and your transparency. And I was telling my nephew earlier, you know, you stay true to being coachable, be a good kid, be a leader on and off the field, stay true to your foundation of what you believe in, no matter what the other kids are doing in school and stuff like that. And you'll find yourself continually progressing, and find yourself where coaches and programs will be seeking you out. And it's not always about the talent. It's not always about that stuff, because that can come and go.
Right.
You know, you can walk out and get hit by a car and you can not walk again. I mean, the circumstances happen.
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny, and for your nephew in that same process, right?
Yeah.
You know, coaches don't just hire the best; they hire the guy who's going to work the hardest.
Yeah.
And it's funny, and you just said it earlier, they're going to hire the guy who's coachable. You know why Coach K is still coaching college, right?
Right.
Because they're coachable. They have to actually listen to him, or else they're cut.
Yeah.
Where in pro, it's like you're controlling someone
the
who's
coach is
making
a dime
$20 million and going, hey, I want you to do this. And he's like, you know, I make more than you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But, you know, the idea is it's a cool world, though. You know, we got lucky because, you know, all the world of Element is in growth, and everybody's going to have the good and bads in the process of what they're going to go through.
Yeah.
And it's what you get to receive again.
Yeah.
Right? You know, we can have all these weird things in the political stage and all the religious stages and everything going on in life, right?
Yeah.
But we get to develop how we see it and how we feel it. And the hope is that most people develop it from what they hear.
Yeah.
They should believe in.
Right.
And it's a sad part because so many people have so much power, but they give it away to somebody else. Because someone else said, this is what it means. And they took it as, okay, that's what it means. Instead of going, you know, I have faith in myself and in my beliefs, and I'm going to stick to my structure, how I want to do it. And like I said, you know, release the mechanisms.
Yes.
Even though sometimes you say it, the chatter's still coming. You say it again. It's not until like that third month of habit that all of a sudden you control the release of mechanism. You control like the chirps.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, I don't even hear it as much anymore because those people stopped, right? How you know, if you ignore something and push it aside, it starts going away because it can't come back to you because they say it's not affecting you.
Yeah.
It's no fun anymore. He's not getting affected by
The
me.
typical bully syndrome.
Right.
If you don't let the bully bug you, he's
He's
going
like,
to walk
"Wait,
away and find another one.
I can't get his reaction.
Right.
Same thing in the world.
Yeah.
The world is like, hey, the reaction's for what you want to believe in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool.
I love this platform because we get to sit here and have a great conversation. I think there's a lot of moments within this conversation that people can say, those are a couple of guys that have a formula in life. And if you don't have a formula, I have a buddy of mine that's one of the top financial advisors in the world. And he says, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it with 100% accuracy.
Right.
So we better start calculating and start figuring some things out to start making our progress in life. Like, God didn't put us on earth just to cycle off and die. Like, he put us on this earth to grow and impact people and impact each other and love one another. You know, God is love. And no matter which avenue you take to get to him, it's all love. So we got to come together. But at the end of the day, don't put so much ownership on what other people are doing to try and influence your thought process. The thought process stays in here, and stay in your lane and stay true to that. So that's what I'm so happy to have people like you in my life. And again, I want to say this again because I want people that are watching. If you're just watching this and taking it for the entertainment value of it or whatever, but take this message. If you are trying to grow, if you're trying to figure some things out that you are going somewhere in life, like find a mentor, find somebody. If you're hanging out with somebody and it's not serving you and you're not getting anything out of it, like, time to be a little selfish.
Right.
Every time that I walk away from a conversation with you, I feel better. I feel fulfilled. I have a smile on my face. I feel like I'm more in tune with where I want to go.
Right.
And there was no plan for that.
Right.
But it's because I seek opportunities to hang out with people like you, and vice versa. And if you find that, I think that you also are very careful in who you associate with, right?
Yes. You know, first of all, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the opportunity I get to have with you. And you know, I loved being who I can be for anybody I can be for. And you're right. You do surround yourself but what you can, because, you know, in your life, there's a mortality, and God tells you, you know, when we go to, for example, when someone says you only got so much time to live, you really kind of wise up.
Yeah.
Right. You know,
real quick.
You sober up and go, whoa, you know, but you know, it's funny. I can go to a friend's funeral and go, you know, whoever that person is, and go, thank you. I wised up today.
Yeah.
You know, you have made me think things differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in that mortality of life, we want our word, we want our opportunities given to people, not only our kids, because we want our kids to thrive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their word thrive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know, I just want to be around great people.
Yeah.
And it's not about their financial place in their life or their position in their life. I just want to be around people who can engage in life and be open and honest and authentic, to feel a change in the climate in itself. And that whole thing for me is so exciting, because sometimes I even go home and I'll talk to my wife, or we're having dinner sometimes on a date night, and I started thinking, and she goes, wow, you're coming off. I go, because I've learned this week, and it's this thing that just really went back into, Stephen, get back into what's important to you. Get back into your purpose, because we can get thrown over to the left so far with business and everything, and then all of a sudden your passion of purpose gets just pushed down, right?
100%, yeah.
Then all of a sudden you find it back.
Yeah.
And like lately I've been finding a lot more of it, and I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, just taking some time to write and feel and think. Then I start really, all of a sudden you manifest everybody in your life. All of a sudden everybody starts coming back in your life again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you go, wow, how did that happen? How did this person come around? How did this person come around? It's because all of a sudden you got clarity. So clarity is helping me understand the surroundings of myself. And it's never gonna, and I know it's never gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be perfectly related to what I want. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, I don't want anybody to think that it has to be a certain way. It just doesn't.
It doesn't. And you know, just knowing you and being close to you, This is a guy that's got a lot of business ventures and stuff, and you have had to take time recently to kind of step back from everything because everything goes fast. And and if you don't take time to step back, you went on a little trip for just yourself. You let the family at home, and you were able to get grounded again. And I think that if people aren't trying to reset their selves and do these little things, like I spend daily time with myself. I need to set those things. I set my expectations for the day. You do too. We also are recognizing things go wrong. But if you're going to, again, aim at nothing or get up and just go through life, life's going to dictate you.
Right. And
then things happen like, and 10 years later, I'm unhealthy and I got stage 4 colorectal cancer and things happen.
Right.
But I want that type of message to say that, we're in control now, guys. We can take control of our destiny. The sooner that we put our phones down, the sooner that we put all that stuff down and start taking control of what we put into our minds and our bodies.
Just be a little vulnerable.
Yeah.
It'll be really cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So look, man, I appreciate you being here. We've had a great conversation. We'll wrap it up today. So on this one, do you have any closing thoughts that you want to share?
I just want to share that. Thank you for our talk earlier. We talked about so many things in life.
Yeah.
And that to me is just like the biggest value and present that you can have. And that I hope people have an opportunity to have friendships out there or relationships, even if it's not a friendship, but a relationship with somebody, that they can actually have that sound mind. And for us, I think for me, the gratitude of what I have is always the people I'm surrounded by, like you. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, the good thing, it doesn't have to look at any certain way, but it can be what it is. Mm-hmm. And I think the last part of it is, again, control those mechanisms around, like we talked about.
For sure.
Because, man, it's just not important.
It's just not.
The chirp isn't. And I hope we can do more of these together.
We will. Oh, for sure.
And I hope that you just thrive in your life, man, because you know what? You're going the right way.
Thanks, man.
And I'm excited to see your future. Yeah. Because it's big.
I think so.
And I'm excited to see people have a chance for transformation with that process for you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
This is just a journey of figuring out what the next steps are going to be in the process. But, if anybody out there is looking for a way to get through anything in life, it starts with the realization of where you're at. It starts with being real comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yeah. And then just getting to work and just realizing that you don't have to, climb a mountaintop today. Yeah. You need to start stepping though. You need to get some conditioning going. Like I can run around now. I can actually run. It's physically run and without pain. But when I started 2 years ago, when I got diagnosed with cancer, I barely could walk around the block without coming back here gassed and in pain. Right. Just walking around the block. Now I can run miles.
But it's funny. That's why I said you don't see the new you.
No, right. See, that's the thing.
And I laugh because you don't.
Yeah.
You see you every day. Mm-hmm. I see you and see certain moments and go, man, that guy looks healthy. Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm proud of that process for you.
Thank you, bro.
You've gone through a hell of a lot of stuff that people wouldn't even understand and know. And, but your faith took you through the process. Yeah. You stuck to your plan, and look what you are today. Yeah. Look at.
Amen, brother.
Can't really knocking on you.
Yeah.
And guess what? The idea of it is you get to really create that space.
Yeah. I am a living testimony right now that you can create your own destiny. I really believe that. And if you work hard enough and can deal with enough of putting the chatter away, and I'm talking about the outside chatter, but most importantly, the inside of not believing that you could do something, like just keep grinding and keep making a little bit of growth. And whether it's, whether you're sitting here and looking at this and you're looking down and it's, you're overweight or you're, not performing well in your job, or the marriage is looking a little rough and communication is breaking down, like the first thing that I challenge anybody to do is just to look inside first, and then find that comfort zone of being comfortable with yourself, of knowing, okay, am I showing up right? And in turn, if I showed up better and felt better, I'd probably be casting off a better energy to my wife or to myself or to my employer, etc. So Again, we're
Awesome.
off again, back
Yep,
into
there
it.
you go.
But this has been a great opportunity with you. I appreciate you taking me down a little journey of growth and how you position conversations in your coaching. I'm also coaching people, so this is an opportunity for people to see how this kind of works. Like it's just about being transparent, being open to new ideas, allowing somebody to stretch your brain a little bit,
Right.
and to think outside of the box of what you think your reality is, because reality is just perception anyway.
You know, the number one thing, an ending,
Mm.
is that I hope that if anybody got something that came to value to them today,
Yeah.
they're able to share it.
Yeah.
They're able to go out
Amen.
and take this, whatever minutes of their life,
Mm-hmm.
and share it,
Yeah.
and hopefully rethink the process,
Yeah.
and then come back to you, Gary, and say, hey, Gary, can you tell me a little bit more about this?
Yeah.
And I hope that you can actually have a channel for that and these people who saw this.
Thank you.
And again, anybody who's got a chance to share this, it's it's going to keep growing for you.
Thank you.
Just keep on doing the work.
That's it, brother.
Thanks,
I'm going to
man.
stay true. Thank you, Stephen.
You
So
got it.
thank you, everybody, for staying with us. This has been another episode of HPTV, where we help people thrive. And this was a unique episode to kind of give you a glimpse into how I position myself in my relationships here with a great man that's been a very, very big part of my life. So, brother, I love you. Thank
Love you, man.
And thank you guys for tuning in. So come back to see us again.
Having a great day.
Yeah, baby. Cool.